Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Past The Barb. I think it's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, January 17th. I am your host, Adam Bartusek, reporting in from definitely not in the Midwest. And next to me, we got Mr. Cody Hahner,
How's everybody doing?
and his mic is working. We don't got headphones mics. Nope, no headphone mics.
Nothing.
We're back.
Awesome. Great.
And down on the bottom screen, we've got Mr. Ryan Pinkalla.
What's going on? Glad we got the full squad back together here.
Yeah, no more leg room or shoulder room. We are joined by the one and only Mr. Will Stolski again. Holy smokes, I can't talk.
Wilderman.
It's good to be back, boys. I missed you guys last week. I'm glad I'm back with you.
You missed a good one last week, man. Like, we just kind of randomly last minute were like, let's do a weigh-in of the worst things about winter, and I think it just turned into an hour session of us just absolutely bitching about how much.
Yeah, everyone was good and pissed off by the end of it.
I listened to the clips you put together, Bart, and it was pretty spot on. I was laughing pretty hard. So
we had a lot of fun. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you definitely should. But so we're reporting back. And if you're new to the podcast, please rate and subscribe, do all that good stuff. It helps us out a lot. We've had quite a bit of growth recently, so appreciate all the people who have been stopping in lately. But yeah, I think we're just going to kind of dive into some segments, not new segments. Once again, I apologize if I'm like stumbling over myself right now. That is because I drove a significant amount of time recently to get to where we're filming the new and final trip of the Chronicles for the season. But we're going to roll into current events right away. Hahner, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I suppose we can kick it off. As always, it is still football season, so can I
do it?
I'm gonna
You can
just
go ahead.
do it.
do the honors.
Pull the trigger.
Where is your dagger? There it is. There it is. And the Vikings did what Vikings do. They lost to the New York Giants.
It was
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've listened to the reports. I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to see Aaron Rodgers again next year. I think there's a very good chance we're going to see Aaron Rodgers next year. And if you know his history, if he has a bad year, he's looking for his 5th MVP.
And second Super Bowl, that would be?
And potentially 2nd Super Bowl. Let's go, boys. Go Pack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so first of all, yeah, the Vikes lost. I think the win kind of got kicked out of our sails after Thanksgiving when we were like, holy shit, our defense can't turn the ball over anymore, and now they're really bad.
Yeah, it was.
Dude, it like being very honest, I wonder if I could assemble 10 friends to stop an offense maybe a little bit better. Like, I know they're NFL players, but like, let's be real here. They were giving up like they were giving up 5 to 10 yards a clip every play.
Yeah, I don't
6 first downs or plays over 10 yards.
I don't have a lot to comment on it. I didn't watch it, but
It
didn't look good.
No, and the thing is, like, Kirk gets all this like crap thrown at him, but he played really solid, except when he does like a couple Kirk things every game that are just so critical to the Vikings' momentum in a game.
And the thing is, like, people are like, "Oh, it's so critical to winning." It's like, I don't know if our defense didn't give up like 31 points just being like, "Here's a free lunch." Like, he wouldn't have to be perfect all the time. He shouldn't have to be like, you guys as Packer fans, you've had Rodgers forever, and Rodgers has been perfect until basically the last 2 years. He's kind of started having moments of lapses.
I wouldn't say 2 years this year, because the year prior he won MVP.
Yeah, and it's more of me giving shit about saying regression. And I still believe that's true. But anyways, the other topic is Kirk shouldn't have to be perfect 24/7. And with this defense this year, he had to be. And the fact that they ended up 13-4 is like actually ridiculous, because if you watch that defense from basically like midway through November to now,
Terrible.
like I said, I don't know if I've ever seen a worse defense.
Just brutal.
They're brutal. They look like it was like the Packers defense from like early 2010s,
was like
from
2011. That's what they compare it to,
2011.
like the Packers team that went 15-1 or whatever, and they just gave everybody all the yards.
Yes, they looked. Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah,
like,
so
we scored, but they're gonna score again. So
for me, like, I know earlier in the year when we first started the podcast, I was really hyped, and I was even heading into the playoffs, because if the Vikings that had shown themselves earlier in the year showed up, it was like, okay, we could do something. But just you knew what was going to happen within 2 minutes because of how bad the defense is. I'm excited for the offseason. The one thing I'm honestly really concerned about right now is it's Tuesday and Ed Donatel is still employed by the Vikings.
That's crazy.
So that's really concerning, honestly. I'm very
He's
surprised.
locking it in.
Because if he's back next year, I'm still gonna watch. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm not gonna watch the NFL. Like, I'm gonna watch the NFL. I'm gonna watch.
Of course,
right?
But
I think he'll get fired. I think
he will too. But like, if he doesn't, I actually don't know what I'm gonna do, because it was so bad, and there's no excuse for it. Like, he had the quote before the game where he was like, "You're gonna like the way we play," and I was like, I beg to differ. I
highly doubt it.
I don't know if I saw one play I liked.
So I got to ask, because you were driving during that, you got to listen to that on the radio. What broadcast did you hear this on?
Oh, we were listening to PA and Bursic the whole way, so it was actually entertaining because it was entertaining because PA, every time something would happen, he's like, and guess what? They got another first down. And he was just aggressive,
I'm sure he turned on.
It was beautiful to watch it on TV, but I would have loved to hear that go down.
Just so condescending the entire time.
So condescending.
Just like your dad or your uncle watching the game. Like, I don't even know why they have Rodgers anymore. I don't even know why they have him. He sucks. Yeah. He sucks. And then he'll go off and like have 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, have like the best rating ever. Like, get rid of him, trade him.
100%.
It's
just
like
completely
hates that team.
Yes, just hates that team, but secretly, like when they get like a big play, they're like, go, 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 run.
And then he puts the ball on the ground, and he's like, I knew it.
Yep, totally knew it. Yeah, that's like my dad. My dad is the biggest closet Packer fan of all time. He's like, they're gonna lose. I'm like, and I'm so optimistic about him. Like, always like, Packer magic, it's a real thing, whatever. And he's like, they're gonna lose. Rodgers sucks. I hate that guy. Whatever. Yada yada yada. I'm like, why are you saying that? Why are you even watching the game? Why are you even watching it with me? I don't even like watching it with you.
Just good time family fun at the Hahner household.
Good old family fun.
The last thing I'll say about it, the funniest part was Griff and I were driving, obviously, for a long amount of time together for it. So that just kicked off our trip, was basically the kickoff. And the one thing about PA that I will always respect is you never know if you won the lottery or if it was a 1-yard gain, because he gets so excited about certain things, and he's like, and Dalvin's loose for 2 yards. And you're like, oh, okay. And I have headphones on trying to edit the next episode of the Chronicles, and I'll like somewhat hear it. So I'll pull it off and be to Griff. I'm like, first down or touchdown? He's like, oh, he just got like 2 yards. I'm like, oh, okay. But then we never actually, what's funny is we never heard the last play of the game, because where we got to in Wisconsin, we ran out of service. Mm-hmm. So like it had just hit the epitome of all the static, and I just looked on ESPN and I was like, oh, he threw it for 3 yards, and that was it. But it wasn't a great way to. Yeah, it wasn't a great way to end the year, but I think we all said, honestly, it was, for how exciting the Viking season one, it was the most boring way to lose in the history of ever. Like, I thought they were going to go down in a rolling ball of flames, and they just kind of piddled out. It was kind of it wasn't very exciting compared to the rest of the year. But
at least it could have been like some overtime loss or something like that, where you're
bring it down to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like every other game had something legendary happen in the Vikings this year. It was like, no.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was a good thing to bring up, Cody. That was fine. Yeah, we're moving on.
That out of the way.
I
guess.
Yep. Had to.
We'll see what happens. But I'm honestly intrigued to see what they do with the defense, because I think the talent's gotten old, but the coordinator's terrible. I don't even know where the defense stands anymore.
We're moving on, Adam.
Yeah,
we could talk about this for days, but
I know
we could. Pink, go ahead.
All right. So I've been getting all my crap ready for this trip, but I got a good story. This one, right at around the New Year there, I had the chance to just go do a little bit of hunting, just like a little game farm sesh. We took the dog down to a game farm and just ran him on some pheasants or whatever, which is a cool way to we do that around the New Year sometimes, just to go take them out and shoot some birds. We just got a bunch of hen pheasants, put them out at a game farm, right? Mm-hmm. And so at least in Minnesota that season, like the actual, like if you were just going to go hunt public land or whatever, it closes on January 1. So this was like after that. So if you were obviously just like hunting, not on a game preserve, whatever, it's shut. And so we went and banged them up. We killed like 9 birds, whatever. We're on our way home and somebody hits this deer, right? And we're like, might as well get it, naturally. Mm-hmm. So we swing around and it was by this park near our house. So we whip into, there's like a parking lot right there. Just so happens that the game warden was sitting in the parking lot right there, right? So it was like perfect. So I asked him to like get a salvage tag for it. He's like, oh yeah, go load it up and then just like bring it back here. Because it was like 100 feet away. So swing out there, load it up, get it back. I'm like, well, at least get to like, it wasn't too messed up, be able to like strap it out, get a couple quarters off it, pull back into the lot with the thing. And I got it. And he walks over and I flip the tailgate down. Right. So now I got this deer in there and I got this just fucking stack of hen pheasants sitting next to it in the back of the truck.
Oh, no.
You just cut out. Drunk Woody, you can take your drink. That's the first one of Pink cutting out for this podcast.
Okay.
He's coming back. He'll be back in a sec for the punchline. Every time.
It is.
It's miraculous, really. But anyway, I flipped the tailgate down, so I got all these pheasants in there, way over what the state limit is, just because they're from a game farm or whatever. So he walked over and looks in the back to just like see the deer or whatever. And there's this solid, probably 3 to 4 seconds of him just standing there looking in the back, and he's not saying anything. He's just like fixated in the back of the truck. And it's not registering my head that this guy's like, what the fuck? And this is not like in an area where you can like even hunt pheasants. Like I'm very far away from anywhere that you could even conceivably go hunt pheasants.
Yeah.
And he just turns and like looks at.
He cut out again. So Drunk Woody, you can take your other drink.
Right on the second punchline too.
Yep. It's like the automatic Pink storytelling timer. It just cuts them out right at the punch.
My internet's garbage. Deal with it.
You're back.
Anyway, so he's just like, those are from a game farm, right? And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, because they give you like all these little tags to put on them or whatever. But that was my my first little hunting sesh / meat accumulation day. Smashed a bunch of hen pheasants and picked up a roadkill deer. So
that's a damn good day.
Yeah.
Is that the one? That's the deer that people will see cooked in an upcoming episode of the Chronicles, correct?
Yeah. I scored it right before that last trip, and we cooked a front quarter off of it.
That's fresh.
Awesome.
Yeah, the first non-crappie recipe on the Chronicles is coming up.
Yeah,
because Pink saw a dead deer.
Score.
It's just being resourceful.
Yeah, it's a park deer. It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been eating good.
Oh yeah, bird feeder city.
Love it. Alrighty, Stolski, current event wise, what do you got going on?
I'm in Idaho right now. I've been here for I think 10 days, 11 days now. I'm working for an outfitter on the Clearwater River, guiding for steelhead. I'm staying in Lewiston, Idaho, but fishing more upriver towards like Orofino. Yeah, that's been going really good. Been super busy. I think when I first got out here, ran 8 days in a row and then got today off, which was nice just to catch up on laundry and whatnot. But yeah, it's a beautiful area. I've never actually fished here before, but the fish are crazy. They're super big.
I was plugging in my headphones. Where did you say you are in Idaho?
I'm staying in Lewiston, so that's right.
Where is that in the boot or whatever they call it.
I would describe it as like, it's north, but not like up in the panhandle. If that makes sense, where it starts to widen out a little bit. It's right on the Washington border. So Lewiston, Clarkston, where all these murders are where the murders happened in Moscow, it's like 30 miles south of that.
So basically, Will just found an excuse to go research and get like
boys.
insider info on.
I'm close.
Everything.
He's
I'm
a
right.
CIA agent.
You're right there.
I'm like right here. But yeah, the fishing has been fantastic. I guess this is some of the best return they've seen in a long time, at least 10 years. So
That's awesome.
these fish, it's pretty nuts. They're coming from the ocean. These steelhead are. So they come in at the mouth of the Columbia.
Oh, wow.
They travel like
All the way to Idaho.
450 miles, dude, to get here.
That's sick.
And they
That's
go over
actually
like,
super cool.
so they go all the way up to Columbia. They go over like 8 dams, and then they go into the Snake, and then from the Snake they go into the Clearwater, and then they keep going up the Clearwater. A lot of these wild fish will spawn all the way up to the Loxaw River, which is like damn near to Montana. I mean, these fish are crazy impressive, and for being that they've been in the river for so long, they actually are in really good shape. Like they're dark. They're definitely dark. I think I sent you guys some pictures, but they cut pretty good, and you can keep 3 hatchery fish per person. So if it's a hatchery fish, you can kill them. So been doing a fair amount of clubbing fish, which is fun, and I missed that. But the coolest part, and I've never seen this before, and maybe you guys have, but so in Idaho, you're given a steelhead. So it looks like a tag that you would get for a deer hunting or whatever, but it has notches on it. So every time you kill a steelhead, you actually physically notch your tag, which is I thought was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you're allowed to
like
kill
a pretty good sized fish too.
Huge. Yeah, really big. I think these are about the biggest average size steelhead anywhere that I can think of. I mean, a 15-pound fish is not uncommon. We've had a few in the upper teens, which has been cool. And that's like a 38-inch fish, 39-inch fish. So they're big and they're broad, but yeah, it's fun, dude. The clients will kill one, and I get to notch the tag and write down the date. So
I'm totally a trout newbie, but are you fly fishing all these, or are you like float fishing, or what are you?
Yeah, we're Midwest guys would actually be really good at this style of fishing. You're doing side drifting, so basically you're just like drifting a yarny or like a corky or eggs, and so you just have your like pencil lead, so your pencil lead's up here, and then you have maybe a 6-foot leader, and then you're just letting it drift with the current, it's drifting down. So it's just
that's like back in Wisconsin. That's same thing with steelhead.
Yeah. So, it's tick, 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 tick. And then, it gets grabby. You lose a ton of rigs. It's a snaggy river, but when you feel it and it's kind of gummy, you pull the hook and they just go ballistic. So yeah, I would highly recommend people coming out here. It's kind of under the radar, I think. I mean, even I knew about it, but not like a lot. So it's cool.
How long are you going to be guiding up there or helping out the outfitter?
I think I'll be here through the rest of this month, so January, and then I got to go back to Bozeman, kind of reset there for a few days, and then I want to come back out in February. So their season's crazy long. They start fishing them in like September, October, and then fish them all the way through March. So
wow,
yeah.
How many boats are you guys running?
So on the Clearwater, it's super limited. So it's limited permits. So there's 10 powerboat permits on the whole river, or the lower section of the river, the powerboat area. And you can run 3 guides per permit. So the outfitter I'm working for has 2 permits. So you can run up to 6 boats. But I think that part's cool too, because it keeps the boat traffic down for sure. It's not like not crazy busy, but yeah. Would highly recommend the Clearwater River. It's it's cool. I'm having a lot of fun, so hopefully the fishing stays good.
We need a Past the Barb boys weekend, I think.
Dude,
Clearwater.
Dude. And then the other thing, you guys, and this is the craziest part. Have you guys, and you guys might have heard of this Dworshak Reservoir smallmouth? Have you guys seen any of these smallmouth that have come out of here?
Yeah, I'm trying not to talk about that, but okay.
It doesn't matter. We don't have that many listeners, but did you guys see the one that got caught by that guy? I think it was before Christmas. It was 9.1 pounds.
I saw the
know all
picture. It
about
was
it.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Cody
got
and
some.
I maybe have been in quite a bit of talks about this for some
Well,
potential filming.
I'm fucking right next to it. So yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of fishing opportunity out here. It's worth coming out. So cool spot for sure.
Yeah, no,
That's
very
sweet.
cool part of the country. That's sweet. Current event wise for me, like I kind of said, opening up the podcast, I am a long way from the Midwest. I mean, we can't really say where we are yet because we haven't put out the Chronicle vids, but drove for over a day and a half with Griff straight. Yeah, I haven't driven that long since I drove down to Florida. That was by myself. It's a lot easier with someone, but it's God, it
grueling.
sucks towing.
So
Like towing a
grueling.
boat sucks. Towing a snowmobile and a four-wheeler like through areas where it's like somewhat frozen, somewhat not. I will tell you guys, there is nowhere in the country that puts down as much salt as New York does. Like you're driving down a road and it's just a white plume of smoke. Like 24/7, like it's completely dry, but and sunny out. But there's just like it looks like you're driving through a gravel road, but it's all salt.
They got quotas to make.
Yeah, evidently it was not. But yeah, so just super long drive. Obviously, kind of out on the East Coast now, so people will see those videos eventually. The people who are listening and watch the Chronicles are hopefully in for some treats. It's been pretty cool so far. Definitely something. I mean, Griff's never been out to this region either. I lived up kind of somewhat close to here for summer in college, but it is beautiful. Like it is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. It's very cool to run into the mountains again. And yeah, we actually found ice, which I didn't think we would very easily, but that's my current events is just, man, long drives are just.
Oh, I mean, if you haven't experienced some of those drives, it is, I mean, you go to a special place in your brain after one of those.
Especially when you haven't done one in a while.
Oh,
yeah.
Like when you're coming out fresh.
Oh, man.
Especially when you're by yourself. It's the
worst.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
But yeah. So it was, I mean, people are more. I think the next episode of Past The Barb will probably have, I think all the Chronicles guys will probably be on as long as our Wi-Fi is as good, which it should be because we're very close to a major city right now. So that's honestly been the coolest part is this is the first time we've ever traveled somewhere to film where you have cell reception. It's like awesome. You have 5G everywhere. It's amazing.
I'm psyched to get out there because we're leaving tomorrow. So we didn't have to drive, which was nice. We're just flying out there, but
yeah, it's going to be cool.
That was good plan. That was good planning.
Yeah, we're crazy. You know, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Wish I could have drove, man.
Yeah. Sorry. Next time, eh?
Yeah. Wish you could have drove.
But we do.
Yeah,
Hey, we got the first derby of the year coming up though, Bart.
Yeah, no, the for anyone listening who wants to lose in the clam trap attack fish donkey tournament, yeah, you can register for it. It's $10 a piece, thousands of dollars of clam prizes coming out for. I think there's random too, like just depending. They just pick a random person who submitted a fish. There's top stringers, everything. You can look at it at Clam's Trap Attack site, but you're definitely going to lose a crappie one. We're taking that home. We almost won it last year in the Metro against some Canadian people. This year, no holds barred. It's going to be pretty cool.
Moves have been made.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's enough that Toby knows where we are, and he doesn't even want to compete against us. So.
Literally getting the upper hand.
His story was awesome today. I don't know if you saw that where he was like, you don't even have to catch big ones to win prizes.
Yeah, because he's just setting himself up to just get completely dusted by us.
Like you can just register anything.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's just fun to do.
It was just good to be out, eh?
Yeah,
it was cool because so Griff was out scouting today and he was calling me during the day while I was editing. So he's just chatting with the locals and like nobody out here owns a Vexilar or
electronics at all, right? It sounds like
any electronics. Yeah, they just have tip ups, jack traps, they call them. But It's like, dude, it's literally like going back 500 years. Like, there's just nothing. There's no holes on the lakes. There's nobody. Like, it's crazy. So he walks out there with live, and people are just like, that's a lot of technology you got. And he's like, there's 5,000 fish right there.
It's like
He
the first time
catches-
someone's seen a color TV, dude.
Yeah, and he catches
For a TV.
every single one of them. And they're like, man, you're really catching them. He's like, I mean, I think you could catch them on just a hook. You could just drop a hook down and they'd be like, what's that? But we did have like this lake we're staying on right now. It was kind of cool. He went out there and explored because we had never heard of crappies being on it from talking or doing any research. But it's connected to some lakes that do have them. So we were like, I don't know, there's ice on it. You might as well check it. And he caught a pretty good one today and lost a freak in the hole. But
Did he actually get to see that one?
I haven't looked at the GoPro clip yet, but he said he could see it plain as day. He said it was all a 17.
Jesus.
But yeah. And that was his second fish, but it was cool because it was like a weed bite. And those guys were like, "Yeah, we never seen him do that before." He's like, "I don't know, I just got here." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I just showed up.
Yeah, the perch are super cool though. Him and I went out for the sunset bite, caught a couple perch, and they're like the most colorful perch I've ever seen. Like they're almost orange and red, like on their
That's cool.
fins. So it's super cool. I'm excited for everyone to see the footage, and I'm excited for the boys to get out here. Like we've been planning for this for basically since first season of the Chronicles. We were like, if this ever blows up and gets big, we'll come here. And now we're here, so it's kind of surreal, 3 years in. It's very cool. But yeah, anyways, we will move on to kind of our next thing. I mean, I think we're going to talk a little bit. Stolski, you dove into it a little bit. Do you want to dive into anything more about your Idaho trip? You got anything you really want to talk about?
I haven't had anything like really like crazy travel wise happen to me yet. Maybe there'll be something that comes up, but one kind of cool tidbit I thought anyways is when you come over here, you go through Missoula and then you go over the Lolo Pass, it's called, and then it drops you up and over and then down into Idaho, which is the same path basically that Lewis and Clark took on their journey to the Pacific Ocean. So
No way.
kind of a history tidbit there. Yeah.
Is
so it's
there
kinda
like
cool.
any monuments or anything, or like actual trails, or is it just more you do internet research and found that?
I kind of knew about it before I went, but then I saw there's all kinds of like lookouts and Lewis and Clark signs everywhere and stuff. But that area you drive through, once you pass Lolo, is like pretty rugged and it's all national forest. So it's like pretty much unchanged, I think, from, minus a road, just a two lane road. But yeah, that part was kind of cool, but, yeah, nothing too crazy. I just hope the fishing, stays as good as it's been. And then I'm sure something will happen. I'll probably get like stuck or something on the way home and get snowed in. And it's been going too smoothly, when a trip is going too well, like the fishing's been too good and the weather's been nice, like something bad is going to happen. I know it. So just waiting to see what it is.
Is that a pretty remote access on that, or is it not bad?
As far as the fishing goes?
Yeah, like getting in and getting out.
It's not, it hasn't been very bad. They've been telling me, like the other guides and stuff, like there's times where they have to chain up their truck tires and stuff to get the boats in the water. But, honestly, we've been pretty lucky. It's been, the weather wise, it's been lows in the mid 20s and then highs in the up to 40s some days. So pretty comfortable to fish in, so
Solid.
That's super nice.
Yeah.
So was this Lewis and Clark path, like when you went over it, did it seem like, man, these guys are geniuses, or wow, they have no idea what they were doing following, what's her name?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I read into it pretty deep after I found out. And so initially when they came over this pass area, they took a different route on the way there, and they had this one Indian guide and they called him Old Toby. That was what they named him.
Toby.
Damn, Toby took him over the pass.
Toby with an I or a Y?
with a Y. And old Toby took them on this like really jagged route. Like it was horrible. They were eating their horses. Like, dude, it was bad. And it was old Toby's route. And he was like fucking senile, you know? So then when they came back, they took this way, the Lolo Passway, which was much better because they had some different native
We ain't
guys.
doing that again.
He didn't care. He didn't care. He had his sack. He had his pipe. He's like,
And then I read
like you don't eat horses. It sounds great.
He's
That's
like,
the
like,
best thing out there.
I read that like
Toby,
old
where do
Toby.
we go? Where do we
Old
go?
Toby.
Where do we go, Toby?
This is like the guy that he
What?
actually has no idea where the fuck he's going. He's just like, yep.
They just brought him along thinking
That's
We're
what they
definitely
said.
going this way.
he's actually a Frenchman who can't even speak.
Yeah.
It's
They
no
like
clue.
they said he would just get like turned around and then like they'd be like all of a sudden 10 miles the wrong way and they'd have to backtrack and then when
Especially-
they got to the bottom, old
Oh my
Toby
God.
he just bailed and just rode off and they never saw him again. That was it.
Dude, how would that be like back in that time too, where there's like nothing around and you're just standing there with the dude and he's just like,
It's like I think
No compass or anything. He's
Well,
like,
looking
I think
at-
we went the right way.
and he's just
Like,
like, this
oh, yeah.
ain't it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he knows. Like that's the North Star. That's the North Star, right, Toby?
Yeah.
Is it?
Hold on here.
hold on, boys.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, all
Oh
right,
my God.
Yeah.
Toby, we're dying.
So old Toby took him on the goat path and then they took this other way back, which is still pretty rugged and rough, but must have been better than old Toby's route. So
God,
I'd like to see a tour of the OG route that they took.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
lay that
just
down on a
put
map
a
for me.
trail. Just lay it down on a map, and it's just a bunch of squiggles and turns. And just
yeah, I want to
loop.
take I want to take old
Yeah.
Toby's route. Does someone have that somewhere in the Smithsonian?
You're gonna have to do
Yeah,
some
it's
research.
also actually like an ultra marathoner path right now. They just call it Toby.
Yeah,
Toby.
the Hell 200 is
Yeah.
actually like
It's 200 kilometers of elevation change, about 6,000 feet.
the
Yeah, and
Chris
you have to eat
Farley
it. You have to
almost
eat a
heroes
horse.
is based off of it.
Yeah, you have to eat a horse as part of it.
Yeah, you have to slaughter and eat a horse. That's part of it.
The one you rode for 50 miles.
Yeah, let's
They
see you
don't
do
tell
that.
you
David
that until
Goggins.
you're. They don't tell you that until
And
you're
you have
like
to name it
100
beforehand.
Yeah,
21
yeah.
miles in.
Yeah, it
They're
has
like,
to be.
Yeah, your horse Jennifer. You have to eat her now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Oh
see
my
Cam Haynes
God.
do that.
And here's your rock that you have to kill it with. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah, you can't waste a bullet, so
Yeah.
slit its throat.
Yeah, you had to save that for all the endangered species you encounter.
Oh, a mammoth.
Oh, God damn, they must have had a good time, eh?
No,
Oh,
that you brought up the mammoth thing or whatever. That just it's very when we were driving up, all of a sudden
There's
we
no
got in-
chance there was mammoths there.
No,
Not
we
a
got
fucking
into
chance,
the state
dude.
we did though, dude. There's moose crossing signs everywhere up here.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably because they're around.
They're not deer signs. They're literally it's a moose and it says "Watch for moose."
Why is
walking
that
across
so?
the road.
I don't
why is
even-
that so shocking to you, Adam?
I
And
don't
then he
even
sees
know
a moose. He's like, "What the fuck?
I want to see a moose.
There
now.
should have been a sign about this."
I don't even know why it's a sign. Like if I think I'm gonna know if I see one.
Well, the
That's
sign
what
is
I'm
actually
saying.
smaller than the moose. So
We were
They
on the
did
phone
have-
with Waldo when we saw the first one, and I was like, I mean, like, if you see one and you're doing 70, you're dead anyways. Why does the sign even matter?
They used to have this sign. It was when I worked on the Kenai in Soldotna, and it would be this number of moose have been killed this year, and it would be like staggeringly high.
like vehicle collisions.
Yeah, it'd be like in
Man,
the
I mean-
upper hundreds by the end of the year. Dude, and they
I
fuck
mean,
up
well,
cars.
Well, yeah,
your
I mean,
soccer van's not gonna kill one. So I mean, you got to imagine there's been a lot more hit. Like,
Oh yeah.
stagger.
Oh yeah.
Not good.
but okay. Anyways, moving on. So we're gonna move on to now. So we're just gonna quickly debrief. So last episode we had a segment called the Weigh In. It's one of our favorite segments, and we did the worst parts of winter. And I looked through a lot of the results, looked at all of them, and I'm happy to say honestly that Pink didn't win this one. Based on all the votes, it went to Hahner.
Wow.
Yeah, Cody got a lot of
Really?
votes. And
Really?
actually, I got second. Pink got third. So
We'll check.
it was a good change of pace compared to usual. But if people haven't listened to that segment or anything, they should, because the weigh-ins are basically our venting sesh, and they're a lot of fun. But Will, I feel like since you were gone, you don't get to be a part of it. But do you have any impromptu things about winter that you hate that you would like to have added to our conversation?
I don't know if this might have been on there, but when it's so cold that your beer freezes.
It was.
We had exploding cans.
That was on
We
my
had exploding
roster.
cans, but
when it's so cold when the beer freezes, like it's got to
Yeah.
be really cold for that to happen. That
When it
sucks.
slushes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
slushes.
It's just
yeah.
awful, really.
I
It's
would
horrible.
step it up a notch, like, and say when actual whiskey freezes. I mean,
Yes.
I've seen that ice fishing before, where I'm like, "What in? All right, boys. All right,
That's like a good. That's a
That's
good.
enough.
It's time to go home.
Like
That's a good indicator to wrap it up.
Yep, we're
Yeah.
gone.
But yeah, that one would definitely be towards the top of my list. I hate that just because
Yes.
it's like then it's so cold out and you have to go outside and deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good one.
Winter, I hate it.
There weren't a lot of positive things coming out of that weigh-in session. Not gonna lie.
It was a good
Just
vent
a lot
sesh.
of punches into the face of a season.
And
Deep
it's only
hatred.
January.
Deep
God
hatred.
damn it.
Man.
At least it's getting lighter out. That was one of Cody's things. It's just dark all the time.
Is it though?
I haven't noticed.
They said it is. I
Yeah,
don't know. The
maybe-
sunset here at 4:30 today.
Maybe
so-
outside, but inside, there's a darkness growing.
It's
Wants to
dark.
get out.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna roll into then what in the world is going on. So this segment we tend to talk about more of what's going on in the outdoors world and just some different news clippings or anything we see going on, maybe in the major fishing circuits, hunting, anything going on. Anyone got one they want to rip off with right away, or should I
I
go
got
with
one
mine,
here.
or- Okay, Pink's excited. Here we
I'm
go.
gonna try to get this out before my mic crashes, which is probably not likely. But
Get
we have a
ready,
chance.
drunk Woody.
We have an opportunity to wrap up a previous one here. So I have the final wrap up to this Bomar thing.
Oh,
'Cause
here we go.
It's
Yeah, we
finally
were
been
waiting for this.
settled.
Yeah.
So
That was
this
in
was
like episode 3 or 4, probably, of the podcast.
Might have been the first one.
it was super early. Yeah. So this one it just happened this week. They finally actually had the court case or whatever, the trial for this. I don't know how the hell it shook out, but so essentially this was just as a recap, this was in Nebraska. It was a poaching case. As of right now, it sits as the largest poaching scandal, whatever thing to ever go down in Nebraska. And so the Bomars are pretty well established. Well, heavy hitters in the outdoor, hunting industry on social
Big
media.
time influencers.
Yes.
Major influencers.
Yes, major. And so they got caught up in basically this case at a outfitter. They were illegally baiting and hunting on this outfitter for a number of years, like 5 hunts plus a year, mainly whitetails, but like turkeys and pigs and stuff too. And sounded like a lot of it was like illegal baiting and then taking the animals and then transporting them across state lines, which ended up kind of murking things up even worse.
Mhm.
So sounded like there was kind of like 2 things. The owner of the actual outfitting company, I got some notes here. So yeah, so he's actually was sentenced to 30 months in prison for this, and then over $200,000 in fines and a 15-year hunting ban in the state of Nebraska.
Yeah, those are
So that's like pretty significant. I mean, you don't hear about
those
too much of that.
Serious numbers.
Yeah, like actual fat money and then like prison time too.
Yeah.
So then the Bomars didn't own this place. They were just hunting there. And originally when this kind of came out, it was they were found guilty of some charges, and then it sounded like they weren't super involved in a lot of the other stuff. But what's coming out now is that the stuff that they were convicted of was actually a plea deal. So they were actually being convicted of like more charges, but they were able to do some sort of plea deal where they pled guilty to some things to drop some other charges. So what actually, they were totally found guilty of doing previously might not ever come out, but they essentially got hit with, like, each of them was $25,000 in fines. That's $50K. And then like $10,000 in restitution or something to the state for the animals that they killed. And then another $25K to their business. And then $44,000 worth of fees that they paid to basically get their equipment back from the state. And then some like taxidermy that they confiscated as part of this. So they just paid like an astronomical amount of money to like get their stuff back. So they didn't have to like forfeit that. And then they also they're on 3-year probation and in the state of Nebraska for hunting. So they won't be able to hunt there for 3 years.
I always wonder when I see those dollar figures and everything too, like, do people actually have that amount of money that they can just pay them off, or am I the only one who's just so broke
I don't know,
that
man.
if I saw that, I would
No,
just
I'm
be like,
also
I don't know
in
what to do.
that- I'm also on that racket.
Yeah,
That
no, this
influence
is crazy. Like, I mean, they're right around like $100,000 plus in fines, and then the owner, of the outfitter is $200K plus he's going to jail. So
Yeah.
but
And-
crazy.
Yeah, and like the thing with, if you're caught up in that scam, well, I didn't know. Come on.
Oh, really?
Come
Yeah.
on. You spent 5 hunts a year there
For
like,
a number of years.
for a number of years.
Yeah.
You know the guy pretty well.
Yeah.
And the
Well, and I think that's why
fantastic, I'm sure.
I think that's why they ended up having to take this plea deal, and then they spun it as like, see, we didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, yeah. To
like we
save
didn't
face.
even get convicted of any of that other stuff.
Yeah, to save face. Oh, look.
So,
it's us
I don't
in another
know.
Picture together.
And I have not seen any.
Oh, there it went.
Lost you.
He'll be back eventually. In another note, Break Your PB's back on tap. So if anybody wants to swing into Giesenbroy in New Prague, they can get it. They will be on tap until like the middle of the end of February. So that's back.
Yes.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
All right, Pink's back.
Anyway, I was just saying that I haven't seen anything come out on their social medias yet about this stuff. I mean,
I'm
I'm sure.
assuming they're just going to avoid it, right? Like
Well,
they're
I
not
think
going to address any of it.
I think they probably will until it starts like negatively impacting their business. Then they're gonna have to address it,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's crazy to see people like kind of at that level of influence that obviously got caught up doing something that they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, and it's their response is going to be so pithy and like pity, woes, like we did nothing wrong. We're in the right.
We had no idea what's going on.
The thing is, like, even if it's not like 80% of the people, 50% of the people will probably follow along with that, and they're going to be just fine.
Well, because
That's the sad part.
fans of these,
Yeah. It's like, oh, geez, yikes.
But yeah, crazy stuff. And I mean, I'm sure the state wanted to make an example of them because of how high profile they are, right?
Yeah.
Like they weren't gonna like cut them any slack. But
yeah, couldn't buy them out.
no. But anyway, so that's how that went down, and that's I think the end of it. I can't see it going anywhere else unless this.
Unless we get like
up.
them posting about something and something blows up. That's kind of the bow on it.
Right. So I don't know. If anything else comes up, I'll keep you posted, but that's where it's at.
All righty. Good one, Pink. Anyone else want to roll, or I can roll?
I got a quick one. If you
All right,
wanna hear
Hahner.
it. So I just saw, I mean, it may have been a couple days ago, but the post that I saw, and this is kind of a crazy one because, the old wives' tale, or at least like people in my family who don't fish always say, like, when you catch a big muskie, they're like, were you scared of getting dragged in by this fish? I'm like,
No.
yeah, sure, terrified. But look at the teeth. Oh my gosh, my arm almost got bit off. Did you see that girl in Minnesota the other day?
Yeah.
Her
Wasn't
foot
an
got
otter.
savagely ripped off. Crazy. You got to don't swim, don't wakeboard or anything.
Never go in the lake.
But this fisherman in Hawaii is now missing. He's missing at sea after he was dragged overboard by a tuna.
Unreal.
Literally went over the side of the boat. His friend tried to grab the line and they never saw him again. So now there's like a search party out for him. And apparently he hooked into like the last words I heard him say were, "This fish is fucking huge," and over the drink into the water. I don't know exactly what happened. There's not a whole lot of details because he's now missing. But I thought, I'm like, wow, that just sparked a solid memory in my mind. I'm like, dang.
Damn,
It
that's a hell of a
actually
way to
happened.
go, dude.
Well, he had to
actually
been like
crazy.
clipped into a fighting belt.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He had to be clipped in one of those fighting belts with a big rod, like
So he was
fighting the
attached
fish.
to the rod.
You know, I've
Yes,
always thought
and
when I've seen one of those
easy.
things, I'm like, what happens if they
Right, like
pull
a
so hard
giant
you get pulled in?
marlin
Because,
or
like, yeah,
something.
there's so much power there. I've always thought of that. Like, man, that's a lot going on. Like,
But
Yeah,
the
and
thing
you're
would be
just
like, you'd
strapped
think you
there.
could back the drag off, right?
Well, like think how hard,
Or maybe maybe you can't or whatever, or you
Like-
didn't,
Or
you know
like
how you're
super-
trying to like free spool a muskie like at the side of the boat. I mean, I'm
Yep.
sure it's one of those moments where you're like, oh my, I can't do anything.
Yeah,
And-
or because on a lever drag, like I suppose if you hammered it back and then it backlashed because it was spooling off
Oh,
so
and then
fast,
just
you'd be done anyway.
Torque you, or like a bad
Yeah.
boat driver where he kicks it in forward instead of reverse,
Like
trying to fight
backing
the
down on,
fish.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I don't-
crazy, dude.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty wild. I'm like, what? It
So they
actually
still haven't
happened?
found. They still haven't found this guy or whatever.
No,
Where did
I
you
mean
say that was at, Cody?
Hawaii.
It was
Yeah,
like
big
just
island of Hawaii.
right
That's
off of Kona, right?
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ahi tuna. Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
It's a hell of a way to go.
No shit,
mean-
huh?
Yeah.
Man, I'd be like getting dragged by this fish. I'd be like, you've got to be kidding me. This is
Dude,
it.
imagine once
This
you
is
get
how
into
it's
the
happening.
once you get into the water, dude, you're in his territory now. Like
Right.
it's over for you. Like he's gonna drag your ass to the bottom and
Yeah.
drown you viciously.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, I couldn't even imagine. I mean,
Damn.
it's like the quote in The Other Guys when he's talking about the taste of lion.
Yes,
I'd be
and we-
scared for
and
the
we
rest of the
like it.
Islanders, and we like it. We will form apparatuses with sea kelp.
Yeah.
May not be long, hour and a half, hour 45.
I love that.
Sorry for if anyone's listening that knows this guy, but
Yeah.
that's crazy, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. All righty. I will. And then I think
Lose
Will
that
and I are both
9 times.
going from big fish to more big fish. Will and I are both diving into big fish of other species.
We're cranking on big fish tonight.
Yeah, so I saw and good segue into like what we're filming, hopefully. But I saw this article that an Indiana man broke the state record for burbot twice in one day on Lake Michigan.
Jeez.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Basically, he was out right before the new year, and he was in Valparaiso, Indiana. I also just thought that was funny because that's totally one of the places Griff and I stopped for gas. But yeah, he caught 2 record-breaking burbot on Lake Michigan. What I found was really interesting. They were only so the first one was 10.2 pounds, and then the next one, I'm trying to find where it was, but they were pretty similar in size. But I was kind of surprised that the state record burbot out for Lake Michigan was only 10 pounds because we see 19, 15 plus
very
pounders
big.
on Lake of the Woods and stuff. Will, you probably caught one over 10 pounds on gull, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't get. You'd think there with the good forage and all that bait, they'd get huge.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't target them or whatever. He caught them open water, but it is in the winter when they show up a bit more. But yeah, he broke them both. He caught 2 of them in the same day, which I think is really cool. But yeah, and burbot love. If you've never fished for burbot are a lot of fun, and we're kind
That's
of getting
crazy.
close to rolling into burbot season.
They are fun.
What part of Michigan was that? Or Lake Michigan.
Let me look here. Fill
Must
some
have
dead
been the
space, and I'll figure out exactly where it was.
Yeah.
He did catch him on a St. Croix rod, Cody.
Ooh.
Southern end of it on the Indiana side.
I guess.
Yeah,
like,
he had to have been on the Indiana side.
I
Is there-
don't even know like how much of that water is considered Indiana.
I
Like, you
think
know what I
Hahner
mean?
would
'Cause if-
know that better than anyone here.
Well, I'm just saying,
really-
like,
I
if you're
really
talking
have no
about a
idea.
state record from Lake Michigan, like how much of Lake Michigan is considered Indiana water? You know what I mean?
He was fishing in Porter County.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, so he said he was in Yeah, it's Porter County on December 30th. But
I guess as you're saying, like size of burbot, is there a lot of biology and stuff and research done on burbot? It seems like there's still a pretty well unknown fish as far as what they do.
I think there's been a
their
lot more in
habits.
the last 5 to 10 years because they've kind of taken off more as a sport fish in Minnesota through the ice. I know like Will Hayes, who we've had on the podcast a few times for trivia, and we'll have him back soon. Will has helped film a lot of this stuff and like study a lot
Yeah.
of the things.
Hayes
that have
has,
happened
yeah.
with burbot. Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
he's been out with some like big time crew, like film crew guys and underwater diving and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, because like I know we have them in like northern Wisconsin, and I mean Mantha has told me that he's caught them before in some of the lakes that I fish a lot, but I've never caught one.
I think when you and I were filming
really-
Ghost, Cody, I was even asking you, like, do you ever catch burbot out here? And you said nobody really targets them because some of those lakes
No.
and spots we were fishing, I was like, man, this would be a primo burbot spot if they were
Right.
in here.
Come,
You know,
like-
They're so inactive, other than like in that short window. You know,
That's what I'm saying. Like what do they do?
Yeah, they're kind of crazy, dude. They're
Like, they
very
just lay
like
on the bottom, dude. They're like mostly inactive. Just
Are
like,
they
they
just
just slither
like,
around.
hibernate or like they just
I don't know what they do exactly open water. I
they,
remember
like,
I was
sturgeon?
chatting with Rylander and Durham about it because they've caught them open water at different parts of the year. They've kind of targeted them before, and they said that it's very weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's
got to
I
be like
think-
it's got to be like a sturgeon almost, where they just like stay along the bottom, or
I think
I
they
don't know
try
what
to
they
get,
eat.
yeah, like as deep as possible in the summertime where it's dark and cold.
Yeah,
Sure.
But
I suppose that
don't
makes sense.
I don't know.
So-
There's not a
Guess
lot
they're
of
like a cod.
Yeah, freshwater cod.
All right, so I just looked this up. So the area of Lake Michigan that's even considered Indiana water is only 9 miles from shore out, 9 miles, and then 35 miles wide. So
okay.
it's like
So it's not
just
that big
over
of a-
300 square miles of Lake Michigan. So it's a very small area, which is probably why the record isn't that big.
That makes sense.
Because that article you sent said that he broke it by 2.5 pounds. So the current record was only like
The
7.5
current record
pounds,
at the time was like 7 pounds. Yeah.
which is not a very big one.
No,
So
that's like 7 pounds is, I mean, some people keep those to eat.
oh yeah.
But people keep the big ones too.
Yeah. Always release the
Gross.
big ones though, all species. But yeah. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Not too often you see someone break this. Basically he broke his own state record
In the same
That's
day.
pretty cool.
in the same day. So he just registered the bigger one.
Yeah,
So
Pimp.
I think that's super cool. And burbot are always cool to see. And like I said, we're rolling into burbot season here coming up in the next month or so. You'll start seeing a lot more of them popping up. If people can actually even get to them, because I know last year the ice conditions were so bad and Minnesota's getting throttled once again with poor ice conditions, but we need the precipitation because holy shit, the lakes are low in Minnesota. So, but Will, what do you got? I know you got some more big fish to talk about.
Yeah, I sent this in the group chat. I don't know. There's not a ton of details out on this yet, but apparently this fish, it's a king salmon, Chinook salmon from Chile in South America. So they have these king salmon down there, and how they got there is back in like I think it was the 70s or the 80s. They put all these Columbia River strain Chinook into these rivers in Chile and Argentina too, I think. But they put them in these rivers as like an experiment. They spawned them in there and then they sent them out. And these fish went out to the ocean and they've just turned into this super thriving population of salmon down there. And for the longest time, the locals didn't know how to fish salmon because they were not native to the area. So these fish were pretty much like left alone, like unharassed for the last 20 or 30 years or whatever. And they have just taken off in size and numbers. Like it's probably your best chance. Like the biggest kings right now in the world are probably down there. They're not in Alaska. They're there. And they're huge. So then one of my fishing buddies texted me a picture of this fish. I think it was yesterday, the day before. He's like, dude, did you see this king that got caught down in Chile? And I was like, no. And apparently it was 105 pounds, which would beat the current world record was caught on the Kenai, and it was 97 something.
Oh my gosh.
So this would beat it, but I've got a few things that don't totally line up. One, the guy that's holding it, it looks really big. Don't get me wrong, but he looks like, I don't know how big the guy is. He looks like a little native Chilean man. He doesn't look very big. And two, from what I've been told, and I'm pretty sure it's true, is that you can't keep any of those kings. You have to release them all. So I'm like, how can that even be registered?
How did they weigh it then, right?
Right. So how would it even be? Yeah. How can it be registered as a world record fish? And then two, would it be, did he catch it in the river or did he catch it in the saltwater? Because is it a freshwater world record or saltwater world record? If it's even a record at all. I mean, this fish, it's too hard to judge it off that picture. It looks really big, but it could be an 80 pounder and not a 105 pounder. It's just, there's not enough. I don't know. And who knows if there's going to be more details or not. This could be all a hoax. I don't know. I can't find any information on it. So it'll be interesting to see. It could be. I could be, the fake media here. It could be me.
I will say though,
Will could be bringing fake news to Past The Barb.
That fish looks pretty chrome.
That'll be like a 3-episode ban.
Right, for sure.
I gotta say that thing must have fought like a son of a bitch, even if it was only an 80 pounder.
Oh God, dude, I can't even imagine.
I mean,
what's the biggest one you've seen or like seen fought? Will?
So the biggest one I ever got in my boat was just a hair over 60 pounds. And it was like, it takes you like 25 minutes sometimes to get those fish in. I can't imagine one that's 80 or 100, especially how bright that fish is. I mean, it's chromer. They just go ballistic. So the fact that guy is standing on the bank, I don't know if he caught it on the bank, whatever. It's super impressive nonetheless. And I doubt he had like top end gear. He just looks like a local dude. So
yeah, I mean, think of hand lining 105 pound salmon with 20-year-old blue stren.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wrapped around a water bottle, right?
Wrapped around a water bottle.
Yeah, it's nuts.
On that fish, jug line.
Yeah. I have my trot line set up.
I mean, he's rocking some Hodgmans.
That trot line was making a wake.
I think he's got some Hodgmans on. Yeah, he's got the Hodgman neoprene.
Rocking the straight PVC waders. He's
good to go, dude. He's warm. He's comfy. He's dry.
He looks psyched in the picture, though.
Fuck, I'd be psyched, dude. The whole village is gonna eat.
He's like, we eating.
Yeah, with a pencil and a blue stren. I mean, that's
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Buddy lost like 25 pounds reeling it in.
It'll be interesting to see when the details come out because the current world record was caught in the 70s and it hasn't really even been close to being broke. There's been some low 90s fish that have been caught and registered, but I don't know. It could be Les Anderson is the guy that caught it on the Kenai, and he has there's a statue of him, and there's a Les Anderson Day, and I mean he's he's a legend.
But from what I understand, like people think that it probably likely won't be broken, especially in Alaska, just because of how that fishery's been kind of beaten on.
Yeah, especially Kenai still has the biggest kings, but most of the time the season's closed to even keeping them. It's just catch and release. That's happened the last couple of years, so. Even if a guy were to catch one that big, you probably couldn't register it anyways. So I think that record, that Kenai record, will never be broke. But so they used to do, they still do it, but they do carcass sampling in the fall, like September, when the water was starting to go down and all the fish that had gone up and spawned would start washing up on the banks and stuff because they'd be dead. And so they'd take length and girth and they'd get a rough estimate of the live weight of the fish. They had one, I think it was my first 2018, I think. That was a live weight of estimate, 103 pounds. Damn. So there's They're
They're
still
out there.
Yeah, there's still
still a few around. I don't know though. There's not very many. So, but yeah, the Chilean king fishery is like fucking on fire, dude. Got to get down there. So I got to figure out a way to get down there. I
Let's
want
go.
to.
There are a ton of freak fish caught down in Chile.
Oh,
Aren't there?
dude, massive trout, huge salmon. I'm sure a bunch of offshore stuff. Sounds like the place to be. Beautiful women. It's got to be.
What kind of budget we got these days?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How much are we making off this
We
thing?
got to
Bart?
be close.
We need that
we
rate.
can dip into the Chronicle budget a little bit. On
Yeah,
that.
we'll,
Yeah,
we'll,
least
spin,
Yeah.
You can get me a ginger ale on the flight, eh?
we'll spin a little off the top.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That new drone I have to buy because my gimbal won't work now.
Well,
Gotta
you
love it.
crashed it. You crashed it.
I did. I never sent Hahner or Will that clip, and I doubt they saw that episode of the Chronicles. But
You
yeah,
crashed it.
I buried my drone into a tree. It was like Voyage Vlogs 2.0, if you remember that, Will.
I remember that. That was
Except for this
hysterical.
tree is about 20 feet from our cabin door.
Yeah, I was filming them take the snowmobiles off, and I was inside chatting with Pink, and I just backed it up to go get a different thing, and all he heard me say was, "Oh no, I'm in a tree." And then we just heard Luke outside going, "It landed perfectly upside down, but it did land."
Adam, was it when we were filming that the 2IO thing? Wasn't it your drone would just take off and then it would just hard like just fly on its
No,
own?
that was the first Mavic. So the first drone I ever crashed was when we were filming with Peric and Wes and Sobe right after Sobe went to the Googans. And we were up in northern Minnesota, and I put my drone up that morning, and I went to turn it, and like I don't know if the controller, I still don't know what happened, if it was a controller or what, but I couldn't change any direction. I could only change elevation, and it went Mach 90 full speed as far as it and fast as it could away from me. And the only thing I could do was bring it down. So I just was like, before it left this stratosphere, I brought it down and got it like perfectly level with the snow. It was like a foot above the snow. And then I just crashed it into a snowbank. And then there's still a video out of it somewhere on Peric's channel. But then we brought it back, and we brought it into the hotel or wherever we were staying up on Schwamigan Bay for the next night or whatever it was. And Sobe the next day was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll fly it. It'll be fine." Because like it would still take off, and it seemed like it was acting fine. And it was one of the funniest things in the world because we were in this trail up by Schwamigan, and it was this perfect logging trail, dead straight, right next to the water. And Sobe was like, "Dude, I'm just gonna ride it right down this trail, bring it up, and just get this perfect view." I was like, "Yeah, dude, do it. I don't trust that thing right now." And I fucking not. It was the funniest thing in the world. He puts it up like 15 feet, and he hits it to go forward, and it goes 500 miles an hour directly into a tree trunk, like 10 feet away. Just mashes it and goes down. Just falls. We're like, well, the drone's now toast. Like, it might have worked before, but it definitely doesn't anymore. Like, arms were mangled. And the funniest thing was I sent it into DJI for a warranty claim because I was like, I don't know. I couldn't control it. Like, I didn't crash it myself. And they warrantied it, but they repaired it. And they sent me the receipt of the repairs, and the drone was like $1,400 brand new. And with the repairs, they did $1,295 of repairs. And I was like,
Worth it.
like, what did you keep
Oh
in
my
there? A few
God.
washers, maybe a battery. Like, what did we even keep original in the drone for that receipt, you know?
Oh my god, dude, drones are crazy, man. Because like those old Phantoms used to just fly away,
That's basically
like
what mine.
100% gone. Like people,
Yeah, it was leaving.
It was just disconnected,
you were
fly
there
away. You're
that
like,
day, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing it was gone. There was
There's
no
like
unless,
boom.
yeah. If I didn't put that thing in a snowbank, it would have been in, I don't know, International Falls in like an hour and a half.
It was a man on a mission.
going. But yeah, no. Anyways, random side tangent. But yeah, so I crashed my second drone, and now it's starting to not work again. When we thought it was working after the UP, but
Well, it did fall from pretty high, so
yeah, it did. Yeah. It did fall from pretty high. But anyways, so we're gonna roll into one of our favorite segments of this show, Will's Wiki Find. What do you have for us, Will? Do we got another JFK Reloaded segment? Do we got Lawn Chair Larry? What do we got?
I beat
rolling
that
here?
game, by the way.
You won.
How long did it take?
Dude, like way longer than you'd expect.
It was actually quite challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting up into the building was the hardest part. So we're gonna kind of stay on theme here with the salmon and big salmon at that. Have you guys ever heard of what they call the saber-toothed salmon?
No. This is
Okay.
news to me.
Mm-mm.
Me too. So it was a extinct species of salmon that lived along the Pacific coast of North America and Japan. They died out early in some era. I don't know how to say any of these things. Anyways, these things
try to say
the early Paleocene area. I think I got that era.
That felt right.
that seemed good. It was
So
better
these
than me trying
close
to
enough.
pronounce any of the lakes around where I am.
Science.
Right now.
These salmon varied in size from 6 feet 3 inches, 390 pounds, to 7 feet 10 inches, 440 pounds. And the best part is they had a pair of small fangs protruding from the tip of the snout. So they literally had two.
Come on.
No, I'm dead salmon. Salmon, yes. And yeah, they had two fangs. So can you imagine being out fishing and you hook into a fish and it's 7 feet long, 450 pounds, and it has two fucking swords on the front of its nose?
Oh my! I'm picturing like like, you know what like a payara is.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what I'm picturing, but a salmon. Is that what it looks like?
It looks like the drawings of it are not very good, but it literally looks like a salmon that has giant fangs on the front of
So
its
sick.
face. And they did the same thing that salmon do today. They'd run up into the rivers and spawn and go back
Could you
out.
imagine?
Could you imagine you're steelhead fishing in Idaho right now, and all of a sudden you set the hook and you're
You
like,
find the last
it's
one.
Jaws. It's Jaws.
Like,
It's
oh,
good.
dude.
You're wading this river and like a 7-footer just comes
Fucking
ripping by.
mammoth tusks
It's like-
come out of the water.
You're fishing and then like you hook one and it rolls and you're like, oh, the sabers are in.
The sabers, baby. The boil
okay.
would just be unreal.
Sabers are running. We got to leave the river for the next week.
It's time to get out the wire leaders.
So what are they like taking down these like bears with these tusks or what?
I don't know, dude.
I'm
Yeah, I
not-
wonder. Yeah, why they develop them, right?
Prehistoric bears, they're just fighting.
They probably
Right.
just had those teeth and still they're just like munching on eggs and shit. Just like
It's like, this is really inconvenient.
like it's like bouncing off a tooth. Like
Maybe
oh,
there was like
man.
there was
That's
like a
how they
salmon.
became
They're
extinct.
trying
'cause
to
they couldn't
bite an
eat properly.
egg sack, and they just
Yeah.
completely split it up before it even gets in their mouth, and they just like
Yeah, it's
sigh.
like-
That's
God,
how
Maybe
they
there's
died.
like a salmon rut, and they were like they'd fight. You know,
yeah.
Yeah, and they'd like go at each other and like,
they're getting because I assume they get all kyped up with these fangs, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
They
Could
made
you
it.
imagine if
They
the
brought 'em.
fangs came from the bottom lip, not the top lip?
Like a
Just
warthog.
uppercutting.
It's a huge Jacob Wheeler looking fish.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the saber-tooth salmon, dude. I'm trying to.
God,
I wish
dude.
those were still around because I'd be fishing for those, no doubt.
Oh, dude,
Stolski
I'd
would
strap
be
into
the
a
most
saber, no
world-
doubt.
Solsky would be the most world-renowned saber-tooth guide.
Oh, I dedicate my life to it, man. There'd be nothing else I'd think about. Just
Could
giant.
you have your
sabers.
own your
I'd
own
make a
leader
statue of
series?
you.
What's that?
your own leader series like our boy Doug, our friend Doug has for muskie fishing? Would you have your own leader series for those?
Oh yeah, they'd call me Sabertooth Stolski, dude. I'd be in it.
You're a legend.
I'd be the dude. Yeah, I wish they were still around.
We'll
There'd
put
be
your
pictures.
statue in Chile.
Yeah. They need to find some of those and plant them down there.
I
Well,
mean,
they
to be
don't know
dead
that they're-
honest, they're probably still a thing down in
They
Chile.
don't know that they're
for
all
being
gone.
honest here, they're
Some
probably still down
jungle.
there.
Yeah, they've never found one dead washed up on shore, so that means they could still be alive.
There you go.
There we go. I like
You know
it.
what I mean?
They've adapted.
Yep.
They don't
They're-
run up.
dude,
the
you know where they
river.
run? You know where they run, boys? They're on North Sentinel Island.
Oh,
Ooh.
There we
Fishery
go.
is strong
That-
there, dude.
That, ladies and gentlemen, just came full circle.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Prove it.
Yeah, prove it.
Uh,
Yeah, that's my wiki. We stayed on. We were really good about fishing tonight. We really stayed the course.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
that was good. And we're actually going to roll right into more fishing talk, actually. We're going to go
Past the
into
Barb.
Will is open water fishing right now, but the rest of us are stuck in the hellscape of winter. And, it can be fun, but I think we're all basically by the end of January, you're running into your, oh my God, I can't wait to be in a boat again.
Mhm.
And so next segment, I think we're just going to kind of go round table. How excited for you or are you for open water fishing, and what are you looking forward to this year? Cody, you want to lead it off?
Yeah, I guess I'll lead it off. So, at this age, 29 years old, I try not to get myself too pumped up. I just try not to do it because I know what I got left in store. We got a long, hard winter ahead of us. But I will say there's something about putting the boat in for the first time. Like actually just casting is a big deal. Just like flipping something out.
Dude,
And
I love just watching my boat float off the bunks the first time.
You're like,
look at that.
Oh,
It
look
did
You're
it.
at
like
that.
the biggest idiot in the world the first time you pick up
Yes.
a rod. You're like,
yes.
what do I do with this?
Yes, absolutely. And the biggest excitement to start off the year is walleye fishing over in Green Bay, and do it to myself every single year.
Nice little snag and sesh.
Oh, baby. Damn it, Pink. No,
His mic
So,
cut out
we-
again.
so if people don't know, Green Bay is a huge walleye run, and the Fox
No way,
River,
really?
the Fox River in De Pere is quite the sight to be seen.
I thought that was pretty untouched.
It's
Steen is
You know-
what they call it.
it seems like a great idea the first time. It seems like an awesome idea. Like, come on, let's go pop out to De Pere quick. Yeah, knock the rust off. And then you realize you can't even start your big motor because you gotta march around the boats the entire time. But that first drop and that first 12-inch walleye that you catch, my God, there's nothing better. I'm so looking forward to it, and I am so looking for my buddies chatter with these people. We can't do anything about the people around us, but he finds a way to chatter about it. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Crossing our path?" The guy's looking at us with his kid. He's like, where do I go? Where do we go? Because there's literally 1,000 boats in a 2-mile stretch of river. That's maybe a quarter of a mile across. You can walk across boats. So that's what I'm looking forward to first. That's my big one. Looking forward to cramped De Pere River.
I feel like that also just gives people down south an idea of how much we just really look forward to open water, is that we all voluntarily are like, I know there's going to be a ton of people, but it's open water. And we just are like, this is a great idea. No matter what, we convince ourselves of it every year, even though it's a terrible idea.
I remember when COVID first hit, we were out fishing on De Pere on like a Thursday night or something like that, or a Friday afternoon. And my buddy played hooky and I had off. And he looks at his phone and he's like, "Oh, state mandate. We all got to stay home." Sweet. Guess I'm going to be fishing. And it took exactly 15 minutes for not like 100 boats to come, but like 800 to 1,000 boats are now on the water in March. It was unbelievable on a Friday. Everybody got the same email. They're like, let's go fishing. And it was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Around here, winter depression is real.
So do you already have your rods rigged for this expedition?
No. No.
You
No,
retying
I
those
got-
knots
I-
30, 40 times?
I got a rusty jig head and a rat. I
The
guess
same one he's
rip
been using since he was 15.
a rip and wrap that's got rusty hooks that I got to like pull off the carpet with the pliers kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know, like chrome. It's gonna be one of those deals.
Sick.
Yeah, pretty pumped.
I love it. Pink, what do you got rolling into open water season?
I don't know yet, but I really want it to be something saltwater related. That's all I know. I don't have a game plan. I want to do something maybe like late February, March. Just go to the salt and just get my ass kicked. I don't know. I don't want to have to wait around, man. Like at least nothing over here opens up that early. Like we don't have that like Green Bay type scenario. So it's
Well, you could do the pool 4 deal, but it's basically the exact same scenario.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to get down south somewhere, get out on the ocean and go tear it up. Maybe go after some tuna or something cool. But I don't know. I'm getting salty. My old man's going to like Central America next weekend.
It's got nothing on a walleye.
So he's sitting down here rigging up all this shit, and I'm like tying up a couple ice rods. Like, cool.
You ever heard of a crappie?
Yeah. So anyway, I'm having to watch that go down, which is pretty brutal. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. I want to have something rip some drag. That's the thing. I come out of winter and I'm just like, I just want to hear that reel just screaming. That's what I want. So
Yeah.
I'll probably go somewhere drastically undergunned. Just try to get my spool burned.
See, I don't even think I necessarily like want the drag. I love the like setting the hook on a flipping stick and just bolt flipping something and be like, yeah.
There it is.
Just something with some weight. I want to set the hook and just like
You
I don't
hear
want it
that
to move.
thud on your boat carpet and you're like,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
You're like, that's what you get. That's what you get.
Just stay down there.
Stolski, well, you're doing open water stuff right now.
You don't count.
Yeah, I am. I'm fishing open water. It's funny though. The first, because in Montana, I've been fishing not very much, and fly fishing trout. So I get out here and like steal. These are big fish, and they fucking pull hard. And so first day I'm out, I'm fishing, and I'm fishing too with the clients, and I, dragging, and I'm feeling bottom, and I feel a rod load up. I'm like, oof, I think that's a fish. I'm like, it's like loading. I go to set the hook and it's like, wham. And it just like doesn't move. And in my head, because I haven't set the hook on a big fish in a while, I'm like, snag. And then all of a sudden it's like, wah, wah, zzz. Like, oh, that was nice. I was like, needed that.
That just made me think of upcoming episode of the Chronicles coming out. We were fishing in shallow water for the first time this season. And I was next to Pink, and I set the hook on a Tika minnow 3 times and hooked the bottom of the ice and completely loaded my rod. And for at least 1 to 3 seconds each time, I thought I had a fish.
Yeah, but
We were in like less than 10 feet, and I just wham, and just bottom of the ice, and I'm like giant.
But
Yeah,
from like
a
my
second, and I'm like,
perspective, I could see exactly what happened. So it was like he would swing on it, and like I knew that he was caught on the ice, but he had that like 1 to 2 seconds of like it's her.
You just like head just turns right back down to what you're doing.
Yeah, it was. Awesome.
I am looking forward to warmer weather though, for sure. Like that
dude.
first like 75-degree day, like it's sunny, blue skies, shorts and flip flops. That's gonna be nice. I'm ready for that.
The
I'm
first
going 0 to
sunburn
sunburn,
is always fun.
Oh yeah,
Man.
Yeah,
torch
I'm
me.
ready to get
That might even happen out here, Pink. It was like 40 degrees and sunny today. I went out for like an hour at the end of the day, and I was like, I'm hot.
Yeah, I want to be fried when I come back.
Yeah.
Peel and skin, all of it.
I want to fry.
Give it to me.
But yeah, no, open water for me. I think the thing as a bass guy rolling into this time of year, it's kind of cool. Like Elite Series kicks off in less than a month, and I think there's some Toyota Series and maybe even an Invitational. I'm not up to speed on that.
Coming
so
really quickly.
Well,
but
your
yeah,
first
they're
one.
coming quickly.
When's your first one, Bart?
Yeah, and I got my first Toyota Series will be mid-March down on Grand Lake. So I get to go back to the place my last Open was at, where I spun a hub, or didn't spin a hub. I threw a blade on a prop. So get to kind of had that really, really bad Opens year and kind of just get to go right back to where it ended and try to get some redemption right away. So I'm pretty excited for that. I think like we talked about in the New Year's show, I'm just most excited for a lot of time on the open water and just fishing. Like as much as ice fishing's fun and it's its own challenge, and doing the Chronicles is a blast. Like especially this year, we've gotten to travel the country, and once the boys get out here, like legitimately travel the country, it's very cool and feel very privileged to do it. But man, there's just nothing better than backing a boat in the water, hopping in it, and being like, this is my playground for the day. And just getting to go rip around and have fun. So I'm most excited for, and it's like that every year. I'm most excited for tournaments. I'm just excited for that. And like that competition's fun, and I think Hahner, you get this from fishing tournaments. I know Stolski, you fished them for a bit, and Pink did too. But dude, every year, the thing I love the most is like fishing the Minnesota Bass Nation team trail, like getting back from practice and staying up till like 1 or 2 in the morning when you know you shouldn't be, but just having beers with like guys you see 5 times a year, but you swear they're your best friends.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it
that
takes
is
2 minutes and you're back into it.
It's the absolute best. Like everyone brings a case of beer and you just sit down and start pounding them, and it's just so much fun. I like. It's not even fishing related, but I just miss that camaraderie. It's great. I love hanging out with Pink, Griff, and Waldo, but by the 3rd trip and all that time, you're like, okay, we've all heard the same stories 12 times and ready to go do something a little bit different.
Yeah. I guess on another not even fishing note, now that like the show season for freshwater is getting started, I guess it's kind of the same story. I love muskie shows, even though they're like so small. They're so much fun. Like the people that are there are just beauties. Like they love having a good time. They love staying out late, and they love bullshitting. And there's always some sort of drama that goes on that just makes the weekend so much more sweet. And then on top of that, like you're talking muskies. And then right after that, usually the last few years I've gone to the Bassmaster Classic, which is like hype level 1,000. Even if I'm not even going to a weigh-in, just seeing everybody that you see, like maybe I saw a guy like 3 years ago, and it's like your best buddies again. It's awesome.
Are you going to the Chicago show?
Debating it.
It's coming up.
I know it's next weekend. There's some Red October tubes down there that have been looking mighty.
Some show specials or what?
Sassy, yeah. They've been looking pretty good, and they're only going to Chicago. That's the closest one that they're going to be at this year. Anyone who knows me knows like that bait's like my baby. So I don't know. I'm debating it.
Hunter, are you getting a new boat this year too?
Also debating it. Yes.
Gotcha.
Did you sell yours yet?
Back and forth. No.
That podcast didn't work. I thought we sold the shit out of that thing.
Damn it.
I got like one request for, a bolt in one of the battery boxes. I'm like, this ain't going to work. I kind of need that if I'm going to run it still. So,
yeah.
We need all 300 of our listeners to hit you up and be like, hey, we'll each take this individual part for $10. And guess what? You'll still be in debt.
Hey, and you know what? The good thing about this boat, there might only be 300 parts left in it. So
there's enough to go around.
There's enough.
Oh, perfect. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the open water season. I think we talked about it before on an episode. We'll probably do a little bit of fantasy fishing. If people want us to have a fantasy fishing group, we'll pop that up for the Elite Series. And we'll have a little bit of Elite Series talk, but we're not gonna dive into it like some other podcasts do and only talk about that stuff. You know, it's something we're passionate about. We like keeping up on, but we also like having fun around these parts. So we'll keep it on a bunch of other topics as well. But does anyone else have anything they want to chime in with?
I don't think so, man.
No, I think we accomplished our mission today. And next episode, I think the whole cast of the Chronicles will probably be on, and we're gonna have to figure out time zone shit again. So we're gonna be all on and chatting behind the scenes stuff, and I'm sure we will have a ton of stories since Pink, Waldo, and our other camera guy Luke are gonna have a very interesting Wednesday tomorrow. Especially with the winter storm rolling into Minneapolis as they have to take flight. So
I think it'll be good.
It'll
all
be great.
be good.
Everything will be great. It's all going to work out great.
Everything will be fine.
But so thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Past the Barb. Once again, please rate, subscribe, share with your buddies. We've been growing lately. We appreciate it a ton. We'll be around for a while, and until next time, we will see you later.